Um, work is work, and I don't do anything. No, actually, correction. I do a whole lot of, uh, what do they call it? Like monotonous things. Like, it's the same thing over and over again, which I hate. Um, but talking to people is kind of what has been keeping me above the water, per se. Um, but like this past week, I don't know what happened. Okay. Um, and it may have been my period. It may have been a lot of things, but um, okay. So let me recap because this month it started off one way and then it ended off another way because we're about to end this month. We have like what, 9 days? Um, but um, so I've been having like this horrible leg pain. Um, and I went in to get checked up at the beginning of this month. And honestly, when I tell you they did not help, like, they did not help, like, genuinely. And it was disappointing. Because at that point, like, I couldn't even walk to work, which is literally my everyday. Like, I walk to work, walk to lunch, literally, you name it, right? So like it was getting that bad, like to the point where I couldn't even sit down because it was hurting. So I was like, oh no, like I need to go in, get checked. Again, they didn't help. But I realized that there was one thing that was kind of helping it, which was cycling. Honestly, I don't even know where it came from. Okay, I don't know what brought me to start cycling, but I got on a little bicycle at the gym and I was like, you know what? This is like the next day I woke up and I felt it. I felt new. Even if it was just for like a few seconds, like I felt relief in that area cuz it's like my joint where my hip meets my leg, if that makes sense. So um sorry, I got distracted. So yeah, uh I went in, it was pointless. And um then what else? Right, last week. Um last week it was it was pretty hard. Um and I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but um like I can't describe what I was feeling. Um so I'll just give you some context. Um but at some point last week, um we found out that like someone was like a team member was had suffered like a car accident and was in critical condition, and like the whole team like gathered together and they talked about the subject, and they were kind of just reminding people of like that like everyone, like it's a community, it's a team, it's a team effort, it's this and that. Everyone should look out for each other. That's what they were emphasizing. And like I'm all for teamwork, right? But one thing that I've learned is that I for whatever reason, like I cannot rely on the um, people from my work area to be um, to be the ones to initiate um, assistance for me, if that makes sense. Like they're not like um, they kept emphasizing like check up on your teammates and like even though it may sound weird, like give them a ride here and there. Like don't let them drink and drive, basically. Um, and like for whatever reason, like if you are available, like don't let that person down. Let them know that you're available, right? Um, and I just said like, oh my gosh, this is me trying to be as inspirational as that person who was saying whatever he was saying, and I just can't. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so um, yeah. So they were emphasizing that, and then like throughout the whole speech, like I was just thinking to myself, like I don't have those people with the people that I work with, like um, and I get it. Like honestly, like I feel like it's genuinely just my personality crashing, my personality clashing with other personalities, but um, like I don't know why I thought that conversation was gonna change something. Um, like I should have known. um, but anyway, so prior to that, um, I had gotten scolded by a higher up for um, not being courteous. Okay. Um, and honestly, like, I'll be courteous all you want, but when I'm freaking walking to work to try to get to a last minute meeting that I don't have a ride to, like, I'm not thinking about what I should be looking out for. Like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to be courteous. Like, I'm not gonna go above and beyond at the crack of dawn to try to be courteous, okay? Um, and I'm just going in circles right now, but yeah. So I went into that meeting and they were talking about teamwork and looking out for one another and beautiful, beautiful words. And then because that meeting was held basically like in this large auditorium that like wasn't our office. So I still had to walk to work, if that makes sense. Um, and so I walk out of there, I walk out of the auditorium, and I start walking. And before that, like I had seen someone and I was about to ask them for a ride, but I was just like, no. Like if they're not offering it to me, I'm not gonna ask for it. Um, like that was just the way that I was raised. And yeah, like I don't know if it's pride actually. Um, but like as comfortable as I am with a person, like I'm not gonna go out of my way to be like, give me a ride. I'm not gonna beg for it, right? So I start walking, and it's not like these people are my coworkers that I work with like 24/7, but they're all going to the same office as me. And so I start walking, and like in my head I'm just thinking like there was this big old talk about teamwork and this and that, um and it's like the same thing over and over again. And so I walk, and someone pulls over, and I think to myself, they must have like a pop tire, something happened, because people have stopped next to me for some reason, and it just so happens that it's like a coincidence or by accident. But I tried walking past it. I tried walking past the vehicle, and then I hear someone roll down the window and say, like, "Hey, do you need a ride?" And I was like, "Yes, please." um, and honestly, like, I don't mind the walk, okay? But it was what he said to me next that kind of got me. Um, he was like, he was like, I can't believe like everyone passed you. Like everyone saw you walking and they didn't offer you a ride. They didn't pull over. And like honestly, whenever he said that, like I was holding back tears already. And then he was like, "Are you okay?" And so I feel my face getting red, I feel my eyes getting red, but I'm holding it back. I'm not gonna start crying. He's telling me how like he's he's like working from home that day. And so there was no reason for him to go to the office except for me. And so he drives me there, he drops me off, and I say thank you. And I run to the restroom. I couldn't stop crying in that restroom. Honestly, like I felt like I was breaking down. Um, like I was uncontrollably like sobbing, and I came out of that restroom with like blazing red eyes that I couldn't hide. And I went into the office and they were having this little meeting of like exchanging phone numbers with the higher ups to, ease whatever's going on, right? And I just felt the hypocrisy. I felt ridiculous being in the office. And then I think it was this month, or maybe I never mentioned it, but at some point I almost got ran over. Like, I don't know if I'm just like victimizing myself, but like, yeah, like I just got really sad that day. And then the next day, I'm going to the restroom and I see him. And he's like, "Give me your phone." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Hand me your phone. I'm gonna give you my contact." And so I give him my phone, and there's someone sitting next to him. And it's this lady, and she's like, "Alright, like, me too. Like, I'm gonna give you my phone number." And they're both talking to me, telling me, like, if you ever need a ride, like, don't hesitate. And the thing about me is, it's like, I'm gonna hesitate. I'm not gonna call you. I'm not gonna text you. I don't know. I was really thankful for that. Especially after that day. That day was dreadful. Like, I came home and I genuinely couldn't anymore. I didn't want to bother my sisters either, because I feel like I'm like saying the same thing over and over again to them. And like, especially recently, like, the only thing that has kind of brought me joy is like watching anime with my sister, my little one. And that day, like, I came back home and I couldn't. I called the church to get some help. They didn't answer, obviously. Then I kept trying to get help. And I finally got in touch with someone, and they, like, I was sobbing over the phone, but they helped me, and they were really sweet. But I just couldn't that day, and then the next day, that's when they exchanged, or they gave me their phone numbers. Those two people. But I don't know. They were so sweet. Um, but yeah. And it was that morning that I had to be somewhere for work, like somewhere different. And it was like at the other side of the city, if that makes sense. And of course, I don't have a car, so someone offered to give me a ride, and then they bailed on me. And then I got dropped off by someone who was supposed to be off of work that day. And they were really sweet about it, but you could just tell, like, he would have been sleeping in had it not been for me. And so I get dropped off, and he walks me to the location, and then I do whatever I need to do, and then someone sees me, and he's like, "How'd you get here?" Because everyone knows, like, I don't have a vehicle. and and he's like, "You didn't walk here, did you?" And I was like, "No, like." Like, thankfully someone gave me a ride, but then they left, so. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm giving you a ride. I'm giving you a ride back." And, like, just experiencing, like, those two sweet interactions that day, like, I don't know, it kind of flipped my mood around. But, I don't know, like, I just keep getting in these sad, like, my highs are highs. No, actually, my highs aren't even that highs. But my lows, like, they're low. And, like, I want to start going to church, but I don't know, that scares me. That scares me, and then, like, I've just been, I don't even know how to pray. So I've just been talking out loud, letting it all out, and that seems to kind of help. Sorry, like, you had to look at the nasty, dreadful gooiness around my eyes, but yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I just hope it gets better. But I feel like every time I come back on here, like, I just break down. But I think the thing is, it's like, I was holding it all in, and then I kind of just broke that morning. And I'll start trying to come back on here again. I've been cooking on Sundays to meal prep with a friend, and there's someone who waves at me. But yeah, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or not, but that's kind of been making my day. Today he came out with a friend, and they both waved at me. I don't know. There's small moments throughout my day that I sort of take for granted. Like today, there was this bee that just like it like grabbed onto my cap, the underside of it, and it was like right in my face. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die." That's literally what happened. Anyway, I took my cap off and I was like, "This is it. This is where I get stung." It didn't happen, thankfully, but yeah. Hopefully it gets better. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Good night. I hope you're doing well. I never ask. And that's my bad. That's my bad. Are you doing well? I hope you are. You're an icon, you're a star. You're brilliant, you're charming, you're attractive. Mm-hmm.